All right, we're going to talk about something else, although this
really
might also make you angry. Kyrie Irving. So the Nets up any questions about Kyrie's availability during this season. When he said this, he said, I think we recognize he's not playing home games. We're going to have to, for sure, play without him this year, so it just depends on when, where, and how much. All right, so the Nets opened with road games in Milwaukee and Philly. Then they're home in Brooklyn for 6 in a row. Broussard, let me start with you. Should the Nets just sit Kyrie for the season? This feels so disjointed and so, I don't know. I don't see how you build any kind of chemistry or momentum when you're in and out of practices and lineups.
Well, look, obviously the first option would be to trade him. That's what you like to do, ideally for that guy named Ben Simmons down the road in Philadelphia. But if they can't do that, which they probably can't, if they can't trade him, all right, then I would, as I said last week, I would give Kyrie Irving a COVID exemption. Now, I hate to pay players or anyone for work that they are not doing unless they're injured. So I hate to play players when they're not playing unless it's due to injury. But I would bite the bullet on this one. And I would say, Kyrie, you're obviously not playing home games. You're not getting paid for those by the league's rules. But all right, we need you away from the team, and here's why. There's 3 reasons. Number 1, to avoid distraction. Can you imagine the distraction? Every time they go on the road, wow, what was it like to have Kyrie Irving, guys? You know, asking his teammates, what was it like to have Kyrie on the court? Every time they're at home, would this game have been differently had Kyrie been there? Or, wow, you guys have won 4 straight at home without Kyrie. It would get nauseating, and even guys that like Kyrie in the locker room, you get sick of it after a while. So, number 1, avoid distraction. Number 2, as you said, Jenna, you have to get continuity, chemistry, defined roles to win a championship. Now, I'll admit, they could go with the Kyrie in and out of the lineup in the regular season and still win 60 games as long as they're healthy. They're going to win 60-ish games with or without Kyrie. Okay, so they could do that. But it's about beating Milwaukee. We'll see if Philly can get it together, about beating the Lakers. You're not going to beat those teams without continuity, chemistry, and defined roles over a long stretch of time, like an entire regular season. So you won't get that with Kyrie, so it's better just go away. Third reason is because maybe, just maybe, I'm not confident in it, but maybe this would motivate Kyrie to get the vaccination. He does love playing the game of basketball. He doesn't love all the mess that comes with it, but he loves playing basketball, and maybe he'll miss it enough to get vaccinated. So those are the reasons. Now, here's what I think the Nets will do, Nick. I think they'll start the season playing him on the road and to see how it goes for a little while in hopes that he goes ahead and decides to get vaccinated. But I don't think it would be wise to do that all season long.
And I think people should understand, and Vincent Goodwill wrote a great article about this, and he links to, if you want a reminder about the COVID protocols for unvaccinated players on the road. You can't eat with your team. You can't go out with your team. Can't go to any nightclubs. And by the way, the idea that Kyrie Irving throughout the whole year, home or the road, is going to be fine with not being able to go out, that's not his history. It's just flatly not his history. If you remember back in January when Kyrie took the leave of absence from the team, reportedly because he was so disturbed by the riot at the Capitol, even when he was going through that, he found time to go to a party. Was caught on video, sister's birthday party, having a hell of a time, while his team was like, yeah, we don't know when he's coming back. You said something interesting, Broussard, which is Kyrie Irving loves playing basketball, but doesn't love the mess that's associated with it. He seems to love the messes he creates. Because what was the other Kyrie Irving story this offseason? Remember when he fired off a tweet saying, hey, my signature shoes, I disavow them entirely. I don't know who made these crappy shoes, but I'm out on them. Just shots fired at Nike for no reason. He does media day, and he's like, the last thing I wanted to be was a distraction. Really? Because I think the thing you wanted more than anything is for everyone to be talking about you and how interesting and how unique and what an alleged deep thinker you are. But you know who's not into the mess, Broussard? Steve Nash. Steve Nash, who is a player, one of the greatest players ever to not win a title. A couple breaks go his way. Joe Johnson doesn't break his face. Amari Stoudemire doesn't get suspended. He probably should have won a title, at least get to a finals. I'm sure Steve Nash thought last year, oh, we're going to win this title. And you know who also is in that boat, Broussard? James Harden. A guy who I'm sure thinks Chris Paul doesn't pull his hamstring, I win a title. If I don't pull my hamstring last year, win a title. I don't know if he's right about those things, but I'm sure he thinks it.
Right.
And James Harden, unlike Durant, Broussard, has not signed yet. James Harden's got 1 year left on his deal. So I say all that to say this. You sing Kyrie home. Kyrie Irving is a member of the Brooklyn Nets and only in every 2 weeks when the direct deposit hits. Other than that, you send him home, and I think it's best for the Nets. And you tell James Harden, this is your team. Not that it's not Kevin Durant's team, but KD has shown he doesn't need to be like that guy on the court or off the court even when he's the best player. Harden, you're our point guard, you're our initiator, and I know you believe in your heart, if you're James Harden, you plus Kevin Durant, you can go win a title. You plus Kevin Durant, I'm sure they believe is better than Giannis plus Middleton, LeBron plus AD. Both of those guys believe they are the best player in the league, and they have played at a level where they deserve to think that.
And they're available.
I think that's the only move for the Nets. And they're available. Correct, Jenna. I think it's the only move for the Nets,
they're available from day one.
Yes, and James Harden, aside from last year, has never been hurt. He's an Iron Man. And I want to throw one other thing at you, Chris. This idea of, well, but you want Kyrie as much as you can for the postseason. And maybe New York will change its restrictions. I've heard these things, right? The flip side to that coin is you can't leave your championship hopes in the hands of local municipalities.
Right.
What if the city of Milwaukee or the city of Los Angeles says, guess what? COVID vaccine restrictions for visiting performers as well. That you can't have Eric Carcetti all of a sudden being the one in charge of your championship hopes. Local city councilman from the 6th district is like, you know what? No, you got to be vaccinated to play here. You can't deal with it. So I think it's a non-decision. I think it's obvious, Broussard. I think you just got to send him home for the year.
And Broussard,
ahead,
it's
Jenna.
just basic, simple reasoning. You want a team from day one that's going to be there through the regular season and into the playoffs. You want to build that momentum. Last year we kept talking. They played 7 games together. The 3 of them played only 8 games together. Okay, so if you don't have Kyrie, you have James Harden, you have Kevin Durant, and you have a team, and that's your team. And now you build chemistry, and now you push yourself through to the season, and you don't have exactly what you talked about. The distractions, the post-game locker room press conferences where it's 10,000 questions about continuity and all of it. You get rid of all of that, and you have your team. It may not be as talented as without Kyrie there, but you have your set of guys that are going to take you through the season. Am I right?
Look, it might not be as talented, but it could be as good, if not better. Look, as great, I think they've got enough without Kyrie to win the championship. Doesn't mean they're the overwhelming favorites like they are with Kyrie, but could they win the title without him? Sure. And they're still right there with Milwaukee and the Lakers. Those are the 3 top teams without Kyrie. Remember, look, as great as Kyrie is, in Brooklyn, his first year when Durant was injured, Kyrie played 20 games. They went 8-12. Without him, they went 27-25, and they made the playoffs. We all remember Boston. Without him, they go to Game 7 against LeBron in the Eastern Conference Finals. With him, they go out in the second round in 5 games to a Milwaukee Bucks team that wasn't nearly as good as the team we just watched win the championship last year. And, Nick, you brought up a good point, morale. If Kyrie is even playing on the road, and he's just, whether it's because he can't go out or can't eat with the team, whatever it is, maybe it's just because he doesn't like the situation that he can't play at home. If he's despondent and his morale is low, that can bring down the whole locker room. I've seen all-star players who had a bad attitude bring a dark cloud into the locker room and ruin a team. And by the way,